Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make this double flower, and this was featured on my video on how to make some simple chunky shoes, and one example I showed you had like a double flower on the front. So I thought in this video I showed how to make the double flower, and I thought I'd do it on a darker background because I'm going to be using a lighter yarn, so hopefully you can see pretty well. But I'm going to be using, for this video, I'm going to be using a DK light worsted weight yarn. And mine's like a sparkly yarn, some nice sparkly yarn left over from Christmas, but you can use any yarn you like. But to complement this yarn, I'm going to be using a 3.5mm E hook, crochet hook. And I'm also going to be using a yarn needle, and it's always good to have a pair of scissors. Okay, so let's begin. So the first thing you want to do is take your yarn and we're going to chain 4. So we're going to keep this nice and simple, no magic circles or anything. We're just going to chain 4. So we do our slip stitch. And if you're completely new to crochet, then do check out my other videos on the real basics like creating a slip stitch and chaining and stuff. So that always helps. But we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into our first chain that we created. And the reason for that is because we want to create a little loop. So we just bring our yarn through and then straight through our loop on our hook to create a slip stitch, and then basically those 4 chains have now curved around into a loop, and there should be in the middle a hole. We're going to work a 10 single crochet into that little hole right in the middle of our chains. Alternately, if you're familiar with the magic circle, you can just work 10 single crochet into a magic circle as well, that's fine. But what you do is you then find your hole in the middle there, in the centre of your 4 chains. We're going to put our hook straight through that hole in the middle, and at the very beginning it can be fiddly, but it does get easier to see the hole once you start working the stitches. So we're going to put our hook for the middle and work our first single crochet, and then we're going to do 10 of those. So you need to work 10 single crochet all into that centre hole. Okay. 2, 3. As you can see, it starts getting easier to see that centre hole when you work your stitches. So how many is that? That's 4, 5. We want 10 of these. 6, 7, 8, 9. When you get round to 9 and 10, you probably want to just move your stitches around a bit so you can fit them in. They should just about fit 10, like so. Okay, so you've got 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. I'm just going to pull the tail end a little bit to bring that hole in slightly, which it will do. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to slip stitch into our first single crochet. So we put our hook through underneath both loops, bring our yarn through, and then straight through the loop on our hook to do a slip stitch. And it should look something like that. So you should have 10 stitches now to work with. And we're going to first work on the bigger petals at the back, and to do that we're just going to work in the back loop. So instead of we're going to go straight into the next stitch, but instead of going through, because normally we go through both bits of loop there when we go through a stitch, we go through both like that when we work a stitch as normal. But what we're going to do first is we're actually just going to, instead of going through both, we're going to go in between them and we're just going to work through that back loop. So if you want to see a video in more detail on working in the back loop and front loops only, I'll put a link in the description to that as well. So we're going to work one single crochet in that first back loop of the next stitch. One single crochet. Then we're going to work a double crochet, so we do yarn over, we go back into the same back loop, so working all these stitches in the same stitch. Let's bring that through and then work a double crochet. Why won't that go through? Come on, there we go. For the first two and then for the last two. And then again into the same back loop we're going to work a triple treble crochet stitch, and that means we need to yarn over twice. So when we do a double crochet we only yarn over once, but now we're going to do a treble crochet, so we yarn over twice and we're going back into that same back loop, bring our yarn through, so you've got 4 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through the first 2 like if you were doing a double crochet, and then yarn over again, pull through the next 2, so you've got 2 left, then yarn over, pull through the last 2. Okay, and then we're going to work one more stitch into that back loop, and we're going to work a double treble stitch, and that basically means we have to yarn over 3 times this time, so we've got yarn over 3 times. Then we're going to go back into that same back loop, bring our yarn through, and we've got 5 loops this time, and again we're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2, so we've got 4, yarn over, pull through the next 2, so you've got 3, yarn over, pull through the next 2, so you've got 2 left, then yarn over, pull through the last 2. So you're always yarning over and pulling through 2 stitches at a time. Okay, and then that creates half of our first back petal, and now we need to go back down to mirror this side of our petal. So we're going to start with our double treble crochet stitch. We need to yarn over 3 times, 1, 2 and 3, and we're going to go into the next back loop now. So I'm working in the next stitch along, but instead of going through both we're just going to catch that back loop. So I'm going to go down the middle and just work into the back loop, so we're leaving that front loop free. And then we're going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, so you've got 4 loops, yarn over, pull for the next 2, so you've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull for the next 2, then yarn over, pull for the last 2. Okay, and then we're going to do our treble stitch. So we yarn over twice, go back into the same back loop, pull your yarn through, so you've got 4 loops, then yarn over, pull through 2, so you've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, so you've got 2 left, and yarn over, pull for the last 2. So you're always pulling your yarn through 2 loops when working anything from a double crochet above. Okay, then we need to work just a double crochet, so we yarn over once, go into the same back loop again, pull the yarn through and just do a normal double crochet. Then we're going to finish up with just a single crochet. So we're going to go into the same back loop and then just work a single crochet, and there's our first back loop petal. We basically went up in the first back loop, and then we did the next 4 stitches to go back down in our second back loop. And as we worked 10 stitches, that basically allows us to divide by 2, so we're doing half and half over 2 stitches, if that makes sense. So we end up with 5 petals. So going into the next back loop, we find our next stitch, and again making sure not to go through both stitches. We need to go through just that back loop there. So we go down in between and just catch the back loop, leaving that front one free, and we're going to work a single crochet because we need to go back up again now. Single crochet. Okay, as you can see it's leaving a stitch free at the front, and then that's where we work the front petals. For the next stitch we do a double crochet in the same back loop, so we're going back up again, double crochet. Then we worked our treble crochet, so that's yarn over twice, to the same back loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through last 2. Then we're going to do our double treble, so we yarn over 3 times, 1, 2, 3, back into the same back loop, then pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through the last 2. And now we've created half a petal. Now we need to come back down again, so we're working into the next back loop there, if you can see. So leaving this front one here alone, just going to work in this back loop. So we're going to start off with our double treble, so that's yarn over 3 times, and making sure to work in the back loop only. Going to pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Then we're going to do our treble, so that's yarn over twice, into the same back loop, yarn through, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through last 2, then a double crochet, so it's yarn over, same back loop, normal double crochet, pull through 2, pull through 2, and we'll finish up on a single crochet in the same back loop. And there's our second petal worked over 2 stitches, 2 back loop stitches. So as you can see, these are the front loops that you're leaving. They're the stitches we work our second inner petals into. So we just need to do this 3 more times, just working 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 TR, 1 DTR in the next stitch, back loop only. Then in the next back loop stitch it's coming back down, so we're going to do a DTR, then a TR, and then a double crochet, and then a single crochet. Okay, so going into the next back loop, so leaving that front one alone, put our hook through, just catching that one bit of yarn, and do a single crochet, yarn over for a double crochet, the same stitch, and then we're doing a treble crochet, so that's yarn over twice to the same back loop, and then pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Then we're doing a double treble stitch, so we yarn over 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going back into the same back stitch, we pull through 2. If you just remember to pull through 2, you don't have to worry about how many loops you've got on your hook then, so you can relax a bit more if you just remember to pull through 2. And then we need to come back down, so we need to start with our DTR stitch, our double treble stitch. We yarn over 1, 2, 3 times, and going into our next back loop, making sure to go down the middle of those. There's 1 and there's 2. Go for the middle, so we just catch that back loop, come up in the middle, then pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through the last 2, and then we'll do our treble, which is yarn over twice to the same stitch, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, then a normal double crochet, and then a single crochet. Okay, and you should have 4 stitches remaining now that you've done 3 petals. And so over the next 4 we just want to do our next 2 petals, so just repeat exactly the same, going up with 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 treble crochet, 1 double treble crochet, then come back down in the next stitch, 1 double treble crochet, 1 treble crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, and then do that again in the last 2. I'll just do that quickly and then I'll slow the video back down. finishing up on the very last petal. I'm just going to work into that next stitch there, which was our slip stitch, but it still has a back piece of yarn and a front piece of yarn, so we need to finish up on our double treble. So we yarn over 3 times, make sure to go for the middle, just catching that back loop like so. We'll just work our last set of stitches, and our treble to the same stitch, and then our double crochet, and then finishing up on our single crochet. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that up slightly so you can see. And you might have to flatten down your flower just a little bit because there's a lot of stitches we've worked. But there's the back petals of our flower, which we've worked into the back loops. But now we're going to work the smaller petals at the front, and that's really fairly easy. So where we just worked into the back loop only, so we find, as you can see there's we worked our first ever petal, the first half of our first petal. You should see at the front now your front loop that you left behind, which we didn't work into. So what we want to do is we want to put our hook into that little front loop there, if you can see. It's easier said than done when you've got the camera in front of you. Be a little bit tight sometimes, but there we go. And into there, into that front loop, we're going to work 1 single crochet to start, and then we're going to work a half double crochet, so that's yarn over into the same front loop only, but we pull through all 3 loops to do our half double crochet. Then we're going to do a double crochet. My yarn wants to stay on my hook. To the same front loop, we're going to work a double crochet. And that works half of our front petal, like so. Then in the next front loop that you skipped, you can see that there, we're going to put our hook into that next front loop, like so. Oh, hang on, because we're working a double crochet first, I need to yarn over first, that helps. So we're going to that next front loop and work a double crochet. Let's come back down, and then a half double crochet, so make sure it mirrors the other half of the petal, pull through all 3, and then a single crochet. Okay, so you've worked the front, we've flattened that down, you can see we've worked the front petal now in over the first 2 front loops that we left alone, and we just did 1 single crochet, 1 half double crochet, then a double crochet, then mirrored it the other side, started with a double crochet, then a half double crochet, and then a single crochet. Then we just repeat that all the way around for the other 4 petals. So we find our next front loop, which is there. We put our hook under there and work our single crochet, because we're going back up now, then a half double crochet, and a double crochet. Let's do half our petal, then finding our next front loop, yarn over first because we're doing a double crochet, remember Laura. Then finding our next front loop. Now, where have you gone? There you are. If you really struggle to get your hook under the front loop, you can switch to a slightly smaller hook, which can help you get the pointiness in there, to help you get your hook in there. but we'll do a double crochet and then a half double crochet, and then a single crochet, and there's our next front petal, like so. And we'll just repeat that round basically. So I'm going to repeat that round for the last 6 front loops only, and then I'll slow the video down and show you how to finish up. Okay. Petal I need to work, and finding our first half of our last petal at the back. It's usually in front of, you can see the front loop because it always appears underneath the that little hole where you worked all those stitches. So it's coming up to our last petal, single crochet, half double crochet and a double crochet. And then in the very, very last one, which can sometimes be a little bit tricky to see because it was basically our slip stitch at the very, very beginning. If we find that our last half of our back petal, find that hole, and then in front of that hole is going to be our front loop, and yarn over, I always forget. The double crochet, half double crochet, putting for all 3, and then a single crochet. Yay. Right, let's cut our yarn. So let's cut your yarn there, and then we're going to pull up, and then flatten down our flower so we can get a really good look now at our finished flower. And then what I do is I bring in our yarn needle and I put our tail end we've just cut. What I do is I just put the yarn needle into that next stitch near the front, near the middle rather. And the reason for that is then it pulls that last petal down to help with the shape. And what I then do on the back is just to neaten off, is tie the tail ends into a double knot. But obviously you might want to use these tail ends to sew onto your hat or your slippers or whatever you're making. Or maybe you're just making flowers. And there we go, there's our finished double flower, like so. Make sure those petals are nicely flattened, and there we go, there's our second double flower. So there we go, so I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and I hope you have fun making flowers, and if you have any questions just let me know in the comments below, and I'll put a link to a written version of this as well on my blog at some point, so look out for that. But I'll see you soon for some more crochet fun. Thanks for watching guys, bye!